Hello, Chicago, and welcome to Community Post, a bi-weekly CAN TV program, which features local leaders and organizations that focus on improving health and well-being in the city of Chicago. Community Post is presented by Foxglove Alliance, a public health care coalition that is supported by the Hectone Institute of Medicine in partnership with the Healthcare Council of Chicago, which is managed by Third Horizon Strategies, and also the Hectone Nurses and the Humanities. My name is Tacora Love. I am one of the fortunate co-hosts of Community Post. I represent Hectone Nurses and Humanities and the AMSN Chicago chapter. As you know, we are ending National Volunteer Week, and we are beginning Nurses Week. So we wanted to highlight the importance of art and the humanities. And speaking of art, we are fortunate to have Mr. Art Sims in the studio. You may, as a Chicagoan, already know who Art Sims is. So if you don't, I'm going to tell you, we have the greatest of all times in the studio.
God. Thank you.
So Art is a legendary broadcaster, social media influencer, and voiceover artist, and once you hear this voice, you'll know why, who has been entertaining audiences for 30 years on various channels, including radio, television, print, and online. He's affectionately known as Chat Daddy, I love to say that, and is a familiar and welcome voice in many diverse communities. With his humor, quick wit, charming conversation, and amiable personality, Chat Daddy has traveled nationally and internationally, well, we're going to get into that, providing inspirational, educational, and vital information on developing and maintaining positive and sustainable relationships. So, welcome, Chat Daddy, Mr. Art Sims.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am so appreciative of being here. Just want to compliment you on being such a great host, as well as this being National Nurse Week. I want to compliment you on your many years of service to others. So thank you so much. It's an honor.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. It is an honor to be here. It's an honor to be a nurse. It's an honor to serve, which we're going to talk a lot about servitude today. But first, you're here as not only Art Sims, Chat Daddy, but you're also here as a representative of the Guest House.
Correct.
I'm going to have you share a little bit about the Guest House. I have always had a very positive experience with the Guest House. The Hectone Nurses for Humanities and Academy of Medical Surgery Nursing Chicago chapter. We have all been volunteered by Cora, and if you know Cora is a volunteered person.
Yes.
That this is where we're going to go volunteer. Mm-hmm. I personally had never heard of the Guest House. Mm-hmm. I've always heard of Ronald McDonald, but I've never heard of the Guest House. And when I went to the Guest House, I was blown away. I left out feeling so full. My heart was full. Being able to offer service to the clients and the patients that were there. So I want you just to share a little bit about the mission and the goal of the Guest House, and just give us a little history of the Guest House.
Sure, it's my pleasure. Guest House has been around since 1999. We're actually celebrating our 25th year of being of service to people.
Congratulations.
We service about 700 families a year. That equals about 12,000 room nights or 12,000 nights of stay. We are the only facility in the city of Chicago and probably pretty much the state of Illinois that offers temporary lodging to those that are going through medical treatment, active medical treatment. So you've got to have so many appointments, so many requirements to meet to be able to stay with us. But it's any diagnoses, any age, and we really do not worry about the money aspect of it. We do have a nominal fee for those that can afford to pay us to stay there, but we also work with people on being able to accommodate them them while they're going through what I consider to be one of the most critical times of their lives ever. And me being someone who has gone through something like that, I really appreciate being able to be in a position of able to help those that need help.
Yeah, definitely. Can you share, where is the guest house located, and then the area that you serve? I know you mentioned all diagnoses, but do you have to go to receive your treatment at a certain hospital or certain location, certain zip code?
So we do have partnering hospitals that we do partner with, but we also accept patients through the American Cancer Society that might be at any hospital, as well as Gift of Hope organ and tissue donation. We accept patients who come through them as well too. But for the most part, we have partnering hospitals that we deal with, UI Health, John H. Stroger, Rush Hospital, University of Chicago. We even have some association with the Veterans Hospital, and we have had connections with Northwestern Hospital as well too. So the important part about this is that we want people to be able to not worry about, where am I going to stay, or if my loved one is in the hospital, will I have to sleep on the floor? Well, one situation that really touched my heart more than any other, the family comes 4 hours away for appointments, and they have a small little infant who cannot go in all of the areas of the hospital. And this has been post-pandemic, just children are not allowed in this area. So a lot of times the family would have to go sit in the car or sit in the cafeteria. And when the family first came to visit us, the little girl fell so in love with me that now she gets a reservation just by, the family saying, Uncle Art, we have a doctor's appointment. So we are very much like family to our guests. And I love the fact that it does not cost you anything to love on people when they're going through something. And I think that's what we're best at.
Oh, I love that. That definitely resonates. And I think one of the things when we volunteered at the guest house, it is definitely a family feel, from the rooms to being able to come down to the dining area to have meals. You can have meals delivered. What's the average length of stay?
It all depends. We have some people that stay with us for 24 hours. We have some people who have been with us a year and a half. Of course, that's a transplant situation where they might have to be there a longer period of time. It just really runs the gamut. Then we have people who may have a doctor's appointment, every 3 months, but then they live 3 hours away from Chicago. So just to navigate getting to Chicago, where will I stay until the appointment, things like that. And so that's, how we do that.
Okay. So I have one more question about the guest house in particular, and then we're going to move into how you navigated to the guest house, because I think you have a unique story.
Sure.
At the guest house, when you are able to stay there, what services are included in your stay?
So we do provide a fully furnished apartment. Most of the apartments have a queen size bed, a let out sofa. You have a complete kitchenette, pots, pans, dishes, really the full bathroom within your unit. So this is not, where you're sharing a bathroom with other people. You have your own apartment. You receive a key to it. We don't, monitor or control what time you can come in, leave, all of that. This is your apartment to use at your leisure while you're there going through whatever it is. And a lot of times it's just not the patient, because the patient could be in the hospital, they could be in a rehab situation, whatever the case may be. But let's say the mom and the child of the family member needs to be close. Grandma may need to be close. Whatever the case may be, we offer what I consider as comfortable as possible accommodations for those that need somewhere to stay. Now, I tell people that I talk to all the time, of course, you'd have to get your own groceries. We have all type of delivery services that deliver there to the building. As far as, your personal toiletries and whatever cleaning items that you may use at home, you would bring those with you. But other than that, that's it. That's pretty much it.
And that's a lot. It takes off that burden of, as you mentioned earlier, having somewhere to stay, somewhere to rest, There's so many stressors when you're going through treatment or you have a family member going through treatment. And I think this reduces a lot of that burden. And it's a comfortable, safe place.
Correct.
So we're just going to talk about your path from entertainment, right? Broadcasting, doing shows, doing voiceovers,
Right.
to now at the guest house. Can you share a little bit about your journey?
I can. So, as you read in my bio, it's been a 30-year journey.
Yes.
Many, many moons ago, I said I was going to create a name that would become a household name. It did become a household name. I am fortunate enough to say I'm a little black boy from the south side of Chicago who has done radio, television, and newspaper, all in the number 3 market in the country. And people know me.
Yes.
And again, it's nothing to be braggadocious about. It's nothing, but I'm very proud of,
as you should be,
what I've been able to accomplish and who I am in my own subtle way.
Yes.
And so, Guest House presented itself to me in a really interesting opportunity. A lot of people don't realize, but I also work in the funeral business. And
I remember you saying that.
After post-pandemic, I kind of wanted to go back into that business. And it just so happened Guest House had something available. I was talked into it, and I am so glad I was talked into it. I came in as the assistant house manager of Guest House, and recently a brand new created position as community outreach manager, which I feel is really the best calling for me ever, because I love connecting with people.
Yes.
And I love letting people know the importance of, this is what you need to do. And if you do it, you'll feel good. That's why I'm sitting here next to you.
Yes.
So yes, very good.
No, I love that. And it just says a lot about your journey. You also shared a story that one of your friends was, utilized the guest house. And at that time, you didn't know what the guest house was. And I think it says something that now you're the outreach manager at the very same place that your friend was able to benefit from.
Many years ago, a dear friend of mine was going through a health struggle. He was in and out of the hospital, and he was telling me on the phone about a place that he was staying. And I, again, like many people think, hey, it's an alternative housing facility, a shelter. I wasn't understanding. I knew he was sick, and I wasn't, trying to put him in any other category than sick. But I kept saying, a place where you stand and the people are so wonderful. And so over a course of time, he stayed there quite a while, had all of his health treatments. Unfortunately, he did succumb to his conditions a few years later. But it's just ironic that I had heard about Guest House during the pandemic. I actually ended up being the master of ceremonies for a virtual gala for Guest House. And he actually was a guest to talk about the impact of Guest House. And so here I am, from just the MC of a virtual gala to now wanting to let the world know about the work that we do and how important it is.
Yes, and that leaves me, right to the next topic. When we first met over the phone, we had a very lengthy conversation, and we knew that we were going to have to limit, because we were both chatters.
Sure.
Or I should say conversers.
Yeah, that's all right. It's going to be a chat.
It is good to be a chatter.
Yes.
So, we talked about how the concept of servitude, because very much what we do as nurses is service, and it has been ingrained, it is innate in us. And we talked about the concept of service, but you talked about servitude, right? So can you share a little bit about what servitude means to you?
Ever since I was young, I've always been about service to other people. How do you help people navigate their way through whatever the situation may be? Early on in my life, I was a flight attendant for not one airline, but 2 airlines.
Just so phenomenal.
Absolutely. I've worked in retail. I've worked in media and public relations, to then becoming a brand. But my heart of hearts, I've always said to me, it's about people. It's about what can you do for other people. And I think in a world of such materialistic things, people with such grandiose ideas and feelings, what are you doing to help others that it does not cost you anything? You and I were both talking about the fact of having a very high pressure job. I commend you, every doctor, nurse, anyone who works in the medical field, because people's lives are in your hands. But when you can go and volunteer and give to others, that has nothing to do with the magnitude of the genius of what you do at the hospital. This is what your heart wants to do. And that's what I've always been about that. That's why even in the funeral business, it's not about me. It's about how do I help people grieve their loved ones. And guest house, how do I help you? How do we nurture you back to healthiness? How, you know, a lot of times nurturing is all people really need.
That's it.
That's all people really need, nurturing.
You know, and sometimes it's that listening ear. And, you know, I saw that at the guest house, in the living area and the dining area. You know, there were games, there were chairs, people came down, and they just wanted us to listen and hear their story. Right? It's that sense of belonging. For the guest house, what's the future vision of the guest house?
Well, of course, it's always to continue to grow. It's to get larger. We do have a wait list. There are times when people have to wait to get into guest house. Just being on the front line of answering the phone and hearing people share their stories of what they're going through, it's really important that we continue to do what we need to do. Guest house really does need its own building. Not that where we are now is not optimal, but we could grow. We can do what we need to do. We would love to help more people. 25 years is one benchmark. I'm looking at 50. I'm looking at 100. I look at benchmarks in life and how do we get to that benchmark. And so, guest house can always use donations of money, of food, anything that people feel as if toiletries, goodie bag items, whatever the case. Entertainers, you can come sing, play bingo.
I could come sing.
Tell you have a great voice. So it's what do you feel led to do that you want to do to help other people? To being led to something is one thing, but what is it that you really want to do? You were led into nursing, but you had to figure out your specialty.
You have to figure out the specialty.
Right, you have to figure out your specialty. So yes.
Yeah, and when you talk about like donations and things of that nature, what can we do to volunteer? Right? As I just mentioned, people love to have that listening ear, right? There were games in the waiting area. There were crossword puzzle books. And what can we do, especially at Hectone Nurses and Humanities and the AMSN, what can we do to continue to support the guest house?
Well, our wonderful volunteer manager and programming manager, Jan Crochelle, she is there to help direct people in any direction they want to go in as far as do you want to do a meal. We do weekly meals, Tuesdays and Thursdays. On an average, we feed about 40 people. I tell people, don't think about how many apartments, how many people. A lot of those people we never see. We never see. We know that they've stayed there. They've written us a wonderful note of the experience, but we never see them. But we also have people who may be a transplant patient, a patient who's been there with us for a while. So they look forward to those dinners on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that's how these guests become Uncle so-and-so or Grandma so-and-so to us. I mean, and we call each other these names, brother, sister, how are you? Just give whatever you feel you want to give. A lot of times people think giving is about money. Money, does make the world go round. Don't get me wrong. But it also is not the end all to the end all. So people can, come in and give of their time. They can do a dinner. They can, goodie bags, whatever the case may be. We have outings and events that, people may want to volunteer at. But my favorite is always the dinners. That's how I met you and all the great people, because you come in and you feed people. And what people think of the meals are so elaborate, and they don't have to be.
They don't have to be.
I love baked chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn.
Oh, is that an order?
I love baked chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn with a little gravy.
But it's that love that goes into it. Like you said, it doesn't have to be anything grand, but just the thought, somebody's thinking of me. Somebody took that time out of the day to provide a meal, whether it's a sandwich or, any of those things. So the other thing that I want to talk a little bit about is, when you're taken out of context and you're out of your surroundings, we had the option to take a tour and go to your apartments. And it really felt like home. right? The warm blankets, the cleanliness of the space. And of course, they're able to personalize those things. And I know you mentioned like toiletries. Is there anything else that, we can give? And then I think that we also need to say where the guest house is located.
Oh,
I don't think that.
Yeah, we went to start and we didn't. I apologize.
No.
Our legal address is 1933 West Polk Street. That's 1933 West Polk. For most people, they go, where is that? We're at the corner of Polk and Damon. It would be the southeast corner. We're actually in an adult dormitory building.
Yes.
So we have, security. People would have to check in just like any other building. It is a high-rise building. Guest house occupies the first 4 floors of the building. And when I say adult dormitory, I do not mean Party Central. I mean people who are in medical school, graduate students. So it's a very quiet and respectful building. But we're right there on the corner. But yes, Polk and Damon, when you give the address, people, where is that? But if you say corner of Polk and Damon, then they know where we are.
Yes. And I think, I'm glad you mentioned that piece about like the dormitory. When we first came in, I'm like, where are we? Like, this is a dorm.
Yes.
But, it's the first couple floors. So,
right.
Is there anything that you would like to share with our audience? Any key points that you would like for them to remember?
Nothing other than I really appreciate this amazing opportunity with you. What a great way to end volunteerism month. What a great way to start Nurses Week. The only thing that I can say is that people can, follow us on the web at guesthousechicago.org. That's guesthousechicago.org. You must have a referral from your participating hospital to be able to stay with us. But other than that, I just thank you for this opportunity.
Yes.
I appreciate everything that you all have done for us. And I really do look forward to a stronger relationship with not only your association, but the hospitals that we are connected with.
Absolutely. And, thank you for all that you're doing. I can just only imagine the love that the patients or the guests actually receive when they run into Uncle Art or Brother Art.
It was so funny, they don't know who I really am. They don't. That's the hilarious piece.
The good piece of it, and what I think you're doing, you guys at the guest house, you're adding that humanity piece to it and that love. So thank you for everything that you're doing. We're looking forward to our continued partnership and to, continue to volunteer at the guest house and serve others. So thank you.
My pleasure.
It was such an honor to meet Chat Daddy, even though we didn't talk a lot about Chat Daddy. But this is the core of who you are. That service. So it was amazing. Thank you so much, Chicago. Please take a moment to check out the guest house and refer the guest house to anyone who may need it, but more importantly, to volunteer and to donate to the guest house. Have a lovely day, Chicago, and I wanted to just thank Foxglove Alliance, CAN TV. You can catch us on Channel 21. Have a wonderful day and be safe, Chicago.